I'm gonna let you know the one guitar that you need. But I have to let you know also that you may be a metalhead, you may be a blues rocker, you may be a jazz cat. There are many different types of guitar players out there, so I'm going to speak to each of you individually and let you each know what the one guitar out of my own personal collection that I have experience with is the guitar that you need. The only one. If you can only have one guitar, this is the guitar that I think you should have. So, with that in mind, remember, this is out of my personal collection. This is not if I could pick any guitar in the world, but at the same time, I do stand behind every one of these choices. I also want to let you know that I am displaying each of these lovely guitars on a string swing, which is essentially a pillow for your guitar. It is the best guitar holder in the world. It cradles many different types of headstocks with ease. It has no moving parts, so that means it'll never break like other guitar hangers may. Why wouldn't you want to have your beautiful guitars hanging on the wall? So check out a string swing if you're interested. There's a special link down below. Now, let's get started with the one guitar every guitar player needs, depending on which genre you play. We'll kick things off with the blues guitar player, and we'll also group in the rock guitar player. So if you play blues or rock, you need a Stratocaster, but it doesn't have to be a Fender Stratocaster. However, that is where we'll start. The reason I find Stratocasters are the best for blues and rock as well is just because of their versatility. They can give you a range of various tones, but also giving you that classic, historic feel of the guitar in your hands. It's one of the most iconic guitar shapes, and that's why I said it doesn't necessarily have to be a Fender Strat. The reason I put the Fender there first, because that is sort of the standard that we look towards, but if you'll notice, this is a single coil equipped guitar, so there is a bit of limitation regarding the heavier rock tones, which is why I think the ultimate guitar for blues and rock, remember, from my personal guitar collection, is this, the Ernie Music Man Cutlass. This thing does a Strat kind of better than a Strat does a Strat regarding tone, but it's got this humbucker in the bridge position, so you can crank that up for a little bit higher gain. And just having those two completely opposite sides of the spectrum in one very playable instrument like the Cutlass, I think is what garners it to be the best guitar for a blues or rock guitar player. Another really great thing about the Ernie Music Man guitars that I really appreciate is the Truss Rod Accessibility. If you ever have to adjust the intonation or the neck relief on your guitar, it can be a little bit of a pain to remove the truss rod cover if your guitar has one. But with the Music Man guitars, the accessibility is right here exposed, so you can make minor adjustments without having to interrupt your entire day to adjust your guitar. As a blues guitar player or a rock guitar player, maybe you like to switch string gauges from time to time, and that will obviously involve resetting your intonation. So another reason that the Cutlass is good. If I were to choose one guitar for a metal or shred guitar player to have, it would have to be a PRS Custom 24 Floyd. The Custom 24 is essentially the PRS as far as history of the manufacturer goes. The Custom 24 was sort of the quintessential model, and it is the measuring stick for PRS guitars as far as I'm concerned. And this one gets a modern edge and upgrade to the metal category because of the Floyd Rose system that is built in it. And I think Floyd Rose, any sort of whammy bar floating tremolo system, is really essential for metal guitar players because metal guitar players and shredders alike tend to have the highest level of technique, and with a whammy bar, obviously that takes a great amount of skill to use effectively, and I think that having that extra range of sonic capability and ability to make weird sounds, that is pretty essential to the coolest guitar solos and things like this. And as far as the floating tremolo system goes, I think the Floyd Rose is the standard when it comes to those sorts of things. Pair that with the metal humbuckers. They're actually called metal humbuckers in this particular guitar. This is an excellent war machine for any metal or shred guitar player. And of course, the fire red finish on this 10 top is, well, metal as f***. If you wanted to make some substitutions here, again, I can't stress this enough, I am only offering my opinions on these guitars from my personal collection. You could insert things like Jackson or Ibanez into a spot like this, and I'm sure you do well. The main points I'm trying to hit here are the pickups and the bridge selection, as well as another thing I forgot to mention, the 24 fret access. That's also a staple of metal and shred guitar. So all those things grouped together into one fantastic instrument, the PRS Custom 24 Floyd. If I were to choose one guitar for a jazz guitar player or R&B guitar player, I would choose the Gibson Es-335. Now, this is a pretty obvious choice for me because it's the only hollow body guitar that I own, and well, a hollow body guitar is amazing for jazz. If you go back to scour the annals of guitar history, some of the first hollow body guitars were archtop guitars. Those were chambered guitars and hollow through and through, just like the 335. And there are different hollow body guitars from Gibson and other brands, of course. Maybe Gretsch comes to mind, or Ibanez, or Guild perhaps. But the point is, the sound from a hollow body guitar is really unparalleled when it comes to that really round tone that you look for in classic jazz guitar sounds. So that would be my first recommendation, a hollow body guitar of some sort. Obviously, the Gibson Es-335 I think is the ultimate guitar when it comes to jazz guitar playing. And then the R&B side of things is also really, really easy to play with this guitar, just because, again, it's about that big, rich sound, but also a very organic and natural element to the guitar tone that comes from an instrument like this. And on the flip side, I know I'm talking about jazz and R&B guitar, but this guitar sounds gnarly when you rip on some fuzz or some really saturated gain sounds. It just has this nasty, nasty bluesy raunch to it. So this could also be a popular choice for blues guitar players, but I think its first purpose and its most suitable nature resides in the softer, more delicate realms of jazz and R&B. But rest assured, it's a pretty versatile machine as well. If I were to choose one guitar for a songwriter, singer-songwriter, or a folk guitar player, I would choose the Framus D28 Dreadnought from their Legacy Acoustic Series. This guitar sounds awesome, it looks awesome, and it plays great. I think an acoustic guitar is something that really is a part of a musician, because obviously there isn't a lot of help from other elements that you may rely on when you're playing electric guitar, and then that obviously lends itself to a bit more honest musicianship, which I think is a key to writing great songs, is to really be expressive regarding what's inside of you. So being connected to an acoustic guitar is really important for a songwriter, singer-songwriter, or like I said, folk guitar, and anything in that realm is generally a more rootsy acoustic sound. So I have to recommend an acoustic guitar. I like this guitar in particular because my favorite kind of shape regarding a guitar is the dreadnought shape. Accessibility to the neck, as well as the more larger concert style body. It's not a concert shape, but it's big like a concert style guitar, where it can be resonant and big sounding. One thing I will note about acoustic guitars these days is electronic capabilities. It doesn't take away from the guitar tone at all if there's some sort of acoustic electric adaptation instilled in the guitar. So this has a built-in tuner, it has EQ on it as well. So that is just a bonus if you're playing live. You should be able to control that stuff in this day and age. So I would highly recommend a dreadnought shaped acoustic guitar, or really any acoustic guitar that has a larger body shape that has the potential to get big if you want to use it in that way for some large strumming parts, but also can project your smaller fingerstyle parts you may write. All right, this next guitar is for the money is no object guitarist, sometimes known as the collector. If I were to recommend one guitar for a collector or the money is no object guitar player, I would choose this. This is a PRS Paul's guitar, and it's special because this is from Experience PRS, which is a semi-annual event that happens at the PRS factory in Maryland, and only 100 of these guitars were made, and that means it's a little bit more expensive than the typical price tag you would see on a private stock Paul's guitar, which I think is around $5,000. So this one, by the way, I did not buy this. This was a gift for work that I was doing with PRS and continue to do. They gave me this guitar, so immediately it's just really special to me. And I think that is the key to collecting guitars. I think there's some people who may buy guitars just sort of on a whim. Every guitar I've ever bought has meant something to me. So this guitar, obviously, I'm gonna have forever, and it's gonna be an heirloom in my family. For obvious reasons, it signifies a lot of things, success of what I do with my career, also faith in myself as a guitar player that I would be bequeathed with an instrument like this. So obviously not everyone is gonna be given instruments. You have to buy them if you're a collector most of the time. So like I was saying, any guitar that I've ever bought has meant something to me. I treat it as if I'm collecting, because really we're all kind of collectors, aren't we? For example, my Fender Stratocaster that I had earlier in this video is a guitar that I did not have enough money to buy. I went into the Guitar Center to buy some strings, I think, and I played this guitar, and I was just starting. I hadn't even thought of the idea for Music is Win yet, but I was playing this guitar and it just felt so good in my hands, and I was just not making any mistakes, and it was just like a really, really special memory that I have. And I got a payment plan and I bought that guitar, and it was really irresponsible monetarily, but I'm really glad I did it because it made me want to pick up the guitar and not stop. And I think that really projected me to the place I may have arrived today. So a lot of different memories like that. Obviously my green PRS SC245, I have a similar special memory about, where I, again, spent every cent in my bank account to buy that guitar. And I had worked all summer to do that. And I don't know, it paid off, I think. A collector's guitar doesn't have to be a guitar that you just put behind glass. It is a guitar that you should play, and play often, because it is awesome and it means something to you. So this guitar is really special. If you want to talk about the logistics of it, it is seriously the most versatile guitar I own. It has single coil and humbucking potential with these two various switches, so you can go between the neck and bridge pickups and split them either in half to single coil sounds, or blend a humbucker and single coil sound for one side or the other, and then flip between them with the main pickup selecting switch. It's an extremely special guitar. So any guitar players, money is no object, try and find one of these. There's 100 of them in the world. 99 of them you could possibly acquire. Not this one though. Okay, on the opposite side of the spectrum, the guitar player whom money absolutely is a very important and protected object. It's not no object. In other words, guitar player on a budget, this is the guitar I would recommend. This is an Orangewood Austin, and I believe it's $175. That's the last time I checked. It is very difficult to find a good guitar in this price range. Maybe even impossible, other than the Orangewood guitars. Those are the only ones that I've found don't just get terrible to play after a few months. Some brands, I won't name brands, but I have experience with guitars in the $200 to $300 price range that just become unplayable after a certain amount of time. and I don't know what the reasons are for that. I could guess what they are, but the point is, a guitar like this is not going to give you a $150 to $200 feel when you have it. Hence the reason I own it. I don't own any low quality instruments. It's just something that I'm fortunate enough to say is true. But with that said, there are a couple things to look for in inexpensive instruments. Your budget may not be $200, maybe it's $400 or $500 or whatever. The point is, you want to look at a variety of different factors. Number one is going to be the manufacturer. So where are these guitars being created? What is their history? Do they have a good reputation? A lot of that stuff is pretty accurate when it comes to the internet. Sometimes the internet is full of complete idiots, but when it comes to guitar reviews, there are actually some really smart people out there, and the reviews are usually reflective of the truth. There's a reason Orangewood guitars are pretty much all sold out on their website. Depending on when you're watching this, you may or may not be able to get one. By the way, I actually give these guitars away in Guitar Super System, which you can find linked down below. That's my learning platform for guitar players. But the point is, if you are maybe a beginner guitar player or a guitar player who wants to expand into the acoustic realm, maybe you only have an electric guitar, but you want to see what the acoustic world is all about, or you could just save your money for a little bit longer. When I hear people who say they don't have the budget for something, they only have a budget for, say, $250. Well, how did you get that $250? Whatever you did to do that, do it again. Save up again. Because the difference between a $250 guitar and a $500 guitar, not only the quality difference, but the options you have, they're much greater. So if it were up to me, I would wait until you have about $500 or $600 to spend on a guitar and then pull the trigger. Okay, if I were to only choose one guitar for the guitar player who loves signature guitars, I would choose the Ernie Ball Music Man James Valentine signature guitar. James Valentine, obviously of Maroon 5, has created this thing that sort of swept the guitar community when it came out. And the reason being, I think this is the first guitar I ever played with a roasted maple neck. I know Ernie Ball does a lot of the roasted maple necks. So with signature guitars, I'm actually not the biggest fan of them. I tend to gravitate towards guitars with nobody's name on it, so I can sort of, you know, feel a little bit more like it's mine, and as opposed to that I'm playing somebody else's guitar. But every once in a while, a guitar like this comes around, and well, you can look past the fact that it's a signature. Like I said, for this guitar, the thing that does it for me is the playability, the neck in particular. Necks are the most important part of the guitar. The neck is really, at least for myself, the thing that makes or breaks the guitar.
Roasted maple neck.
That is roasted. I was gonna say that it's like it's been in the oven for a little bit longer.
It's been in the oven for a little bit too long. Just and it feels great. I think that's the number one comment that I get. Usually it's like, oh, this neck feels great.
If it doesn't have a good neck feel, I'm not even gonna consider it. It could be the coolest looking guitar in the world. If the neck doesn't feel good, the guitar is not it for me. So with that said, this is maybe one of the best guitar necks I've ever played. And it's really just slick looking, and it's really simple and elegant. And you know, for a signature guitar, it's definitely the one that I would recommend. Obviously, there are many awesome signature guitars out there, but this one, the fact that it's from Ernie Ball Music Man, it doesn't feel like just another signature Strat or a signature Les Paul or something like that. It has its own sort of originality and character that you can use for yourself. I mean, James Valentine doesn't really play shred stuff, but I've used this guitar for heavy, harder rock stuff, and it sounds awesome. It just feels and plays great. So if you're looking for a signature guitar, maybe one you haven't considered, the James Valentine signature. All right, the last guitar I'm gonna show you is the guitar that every guitar player needs. Every guitarist, no matter what genre you play, you need this guitar. What guitar do you see there? That's right, an air guitar. No, I'm just kidding. This is up to you. What guitar makes you want to play music for the rest of your life? When you pick it up, what guitar makes you forget about everything? For me, you guys probably can already guess which one it is. PRS SC245. In my opinion, the best guitar ever. And the reason being, I already sort of got into when I talked about the collectible guitar stuff. The sentimentality is so much more important than anything. To me, this guitar feels like home. So if you are ever wondering, what's my sound? If you ever get stuck in a rut, I've never been stuck in a rut on this guitar, let's put it that way. I pick up this axe and it feels like everything is fresh. And if I need a guitar that I can rely on, that will not let me down, that I have to sound good, maybe I'm just in a situation where it's like, hey, I gotta make this video, I gotta bang this out, I'm feeling sick or I'm not feeling inspired, I have to like just immediately enjoy playing. I don't want to have to work for whatever it is I'm about to do. This is the guitar I go to. And obviously I go to this guitar a lot, not that I always feel that way, but it is just something that is a personal friend to me and something that when I look at it, I'm just like, that's it, I'm doing the right thing with my life. So absolutely encourage you and implore you even to seek out a guitar that makes you feel like that. And it doesn't matter what guitar it is. It could be any guitar. I've had a lot of experience with playing so many awesome guitars, and it's with that that I say there's no one correct answer for what the ultimate guitar is. It's just something that's unique to you. No matter what guitar you use, just make sure you use a string swing to put it on display. I really do enjoy having my guitars out on display, hanging on my wall, and I use string swings to do that. I just think if you have your guitar out and it's not in a case, it makes you want to pick it up more often. So grab yourself a string swing, there's a link down below. And the great thing about these string swings is they adapt to whatever kind of headstock your guitar may have, and there's no moving parts, so it's never gonna break. It's just a perfect little pillow for your guitar. So I highly recommend any of the string swing products. Check out the link down below to grab one for yourself. And let me know if I was a little off on any of these guitar genres, if you could only have one guitar for this genre. I'm only drawing from my personal collection, so keep that in mind. Don't be too harsh on me. We can all get along, right? Right? Yes, of course. Well, until next time, guys, keep shredding.